Hello and welcome to Grammar Skills Module 12 on misplaced modifiers. Let's begin with a definition and an example. So a misplaced modifier is a word or a clause or a phrase which is placed awkwardly in a sentence. So that misplacement generally results in an ambiguous grammatical construct in which that modifier could either be misinterpreted as being a part of the sentence other than the one intended, or just be very illogical in that statement. So for example, Neil Armstrong made history as the first man to walk on the moon in 1969. So the modifier here is the adverbial in 1969. The problem with the placement of this modifier at the end of the sentence stems from the fact that the sentence suggests that Armstrong made history by being the first man to walk on the moon that year. The purpose of the sentence is to convey that he made history that year by being the first man ever to walk on the moon. So there are two ways of fixing it. We can either begin with the modifier. So in 1969, Neil Armstrong made history as the first man to walk on the moon, or Neil Armstrong made history in 1969 as the first man to walk on the moon. So on the following exercise slides, you will see sentences that contain a misplaced modifier. So you're watching this as a video now. Please pause the video, revise each sentence to clarify the information that you know the sentence means to convey, and then move on to the next slide, which will be the answer slide, giving you a correct answer and also an explanation. Exercise 1. He asked her to marry him on a park bench. In this sentence, the modifier is again an adverbial on a park bench. So where this modifier is currently placed suggests that the wedding ceremony will take place on a park bench. This is not what we're trying to say. So there are two ways of fixing this. We can very simply just move that modifier, that adverbial, to the beginning of the sentence and end up with, on a park bench, comma, he asked her to marry him. That will fix it. The alternative would be to just use a more specific descriptive verb, in this case, to propose. He proposed to her on a park bench. So with proposed to her, it's clear that this is an act of asking her to marry him, so then it's fine to just finish with the modifier. Exercise 2. The waiter presented a steak to the patron that was medium rare. Here we have as a modifier a restrictive clause. Again, the restrictive clauses always begin with the word that. In this case, that was medium rare. Now, the way the sentence is currently written, the restrictive clause is following the word the patron. So remember that restrictive clauses always have to follow the word that they modify. Now, aside from the fact that the patron should be referred to with who rather than that, what the sentence sort of suggests right now is that the patron was medium rare. Not the case. So we have to move that restrictive clause to the word that it actually modifies. So the correct sentence, therefore, would be, the waiter presented a steak that was medium rare to the patron. Exercise 3. For the study, Jeff only interviewed Italian speakers. One of the modifiers we use quite a bit in the English language is only. The problem with the way this sentence is written is only is currently modifying the verb interviewed. Okay, that could be the case, but we have to make sure that that makes sense. So right now, putting the modifier only in front of the verb interviewed suggests that Jeff interviewed these people but didn't take any other action. He didn't distribute questionnaires, he didn't hold focus groups. We can assume that that's not the focus. So if the focus of the statement is on speakers of the Italian language and not other languages, okay, then the modifier needs to be in front of something else. And the correct way to express it would be, for the study, Jeff interviewed only Italian speakers. So that clarifies that he didn't interview anyone who speaks French or German or Japanese. He talked only to the people who speak Italian. Always put the word only in front of the information that you want the word only to refer to. Exercise 4. The Historic Preservation Society needed qualified craftsmen to restore the old farmhouse badly. Right now, the modifier, the adverb badly, is placed at the very end of that sentence. So, in the context of the sentence as it is written right now, we seem to suggest that the Historic Preservation Society wanted to find these craftsmen who would do a really horrible job at restoring the old farmhouse. Again, we can assume that that's not the case. So if we recognize that we're using the word badly in the sense of desperately, now we know that the Historic Preservation Society is desperately looking for those people who are capable of restoring the old farmhouse. So we need to move the position of badly to another place in the sentence. So the correct suggestion here would be, the Historic Preservation Society badly needed. So here we're placing the modifier badly, as in desperately, in front of the verb, because the verb needed is the important thing. Qualified craftsmen to restore the old farmhouse.